Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back to Quranic language made easy. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In today's video, we are going to learn about the second type of mithal, that is mithal yaee, yaisa, yayasu. As you know that the weak verbs, al-af'al, al-mu'tal, there are different types. Mithal, ajwaf, naqis and lafif, depending on where the weak letters occur. If the weak letter occurs in the beginning, it's called mithal, and if the weak letter occurs in the middle, it's called ajwaf, and the weak letter, if it occurs in the end, it's called as naqis. And in the previous videos, I've covered the different types of ajwaf, and in the last video, I covered the first type of mithal, that is mithal wawi. There are two types of mithal wawi, which is covered in the previous video, and today I'm going to explain about mithal yaee, that is yaisa, yayasu. And mithal is one of the type of weak verbs where the first root letter, the fa letter, is a vowel. When the first root letter is a waw, the word is further classified as mithal wawi. This type of mithal is far more prevalent, and this we have covered in our previous video, and the examples are wa'ada, wahaba, wajila and all those. When the first root letter is a ya, the fa letter, when it is a ya, the word is further classified as mithal yaee. And this we are going to learn in detail today, inshallah. And this type of mithal does not occur very frequently. And mithal yaee, the examples are yaisa, yana'a, yaqidha or yaisa. And mithal yaee in the mujarrad or the small families, it behaves like the normal fi'l and it does not display irregularities. There are some irregularities that happens at amr, command or mudari majhul, inshallah I'll explain later. So yaisa, yayasu, the meaning is to give up hope or to despair or renounce. This is from family sami'a yasma'u. So, yaisa, the meaning is to lose hope, and this is actually both mithal, yaee, and it has a hamza in the ain letter. So, it's mahmuz al-ain at the same time. And mithal yaee comes under different families. That it comes under bab sami'a yasma'u. Examples are yaqina, yayiqanu, yabisa, yayibasu, yaqidha, yaiqadu, yaisa, yayasu. Or it comes in family fataha, yaftahu, yana'a, yainau, yafa'a, yaifa'u. Or in family daraba, yadribu. Examples are yasira, yaisiru or yasara, yaisiru, which means to ease. Yatama, yaitimu, yana'a, yainiu. Or it can come under bab karuma, yakrumu. Example is yasura, yaisuru. Notice that these both yasara, yasura, they have the same root letters ya, sin and ra. Now, since they come under different families, yasira or yasara, yaisiru, the meanings change. Here the meaning is ease, and if it comes under bab karuma, yakrumu, yasura, yaisuru, the meaning changes. It is be little or be small. It happens with all the fi'l. When it comes in different families, the meanings change. And now let's take the Madi chart for yaisa, and this comes under the family sami'a yasma'u, which means to despair, yaisa. Yaisa, like sami'a, sami'a, sami'u, in the same pattern we have yaisa, yaisa, yaisu. He despaired, they both despaired, they all despaired. Yaisat, yaisata, yaisna. Yaista, yaistuma, yaistum. Yaisti, yaistuma, yaistunna. Yaistu, yaisna, yaisna. And the Quranic examples are A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Al-yawma ya'isa alladhina kafaru min dinikum. This day, those who disbelieved have despaired of your religion. So, ya'isa is third person masculine singular, huwa. Another example is أولئك يئسوا من رحمتي وأولئك لهم عذاب أليم. Ya'isu is third person masculine plural, hum. Those who have despaired of my mercy, and those for them is a painful punishment. Allahumma la taj'alna minhum. May Allah do not make us among them. قد يئسوا من الآخرة كما يئس الكفار من أصحاب القبور. So here we have ya'isu, whom indeed they despair of the hereafter, kama ya'isal kuffaru, as the disbelievers despair of the companions of the grave. So ya'isa is huwa here. واللائي يئسن من المحيض من نسائكم إن ارتبتم فعدتهن ثلاثة أشهر. So here ya'isna is third person feminine plural, hunna, and those who have despaired of the menstruation among your women, if you doubt that their waiting period is 3 months. Now mudari, sami'a yasma'u, it becomes ya'isa yay'asu. Like yasma'u, yasma'ani, yasma'una, tasma'u, tasma'ani, yasma'na. We have yay'asu, yay'asani, yay'asuna. He despairs or he will despair. They both despair or they both will despair. They all despair or they all will despair. Tay'asu, tay'asani, yay'asna. Tay'asu, tay'asani, tay'asuna. Tay'asina, tay'asani, tay'asna. Ay'asu, nay'asu, nay'asu. And here there is no irregularity, nothing will drop here. Innahu la yay'asu min ruhillah. So here we have yay'asu, third person masculine singular huwa. Innahu la yay'asu, indeed none despairs min ruhillah, of the mercy of Allah. Now next comes the command. How do you make amar? You take the second person mudari, have taken tay'asu, and then you get rid of the alamat mudari ta, and then you make it majzoom. So it becomes something like e, you cannot even pronounce it. So what are we gonna do? We are going to use a hamzatul wasl, and the i'rab of the hamzatul wasl depends on the middle letter. If it is fatha or kasra, this will have a kasra. So we have e-as. And the amar chart is e-as, e-asa, e-asu, e-asi, e-asa, e-asna. Despair, you both despair, you all despair. And prohibition or forbidding, how do you make it? You take the second person mudari in the majzoom form, and you have a la of prohibition before it. So la tasma becomes la tay'as. So the chart is la tay'as, la tay'asa, la tay'asu, la tay'asi, la tay'asa, la tay'asna. Don't despair, you both don't despair, you all don't despair. And the example is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا تيأسوا من روح الله. Notice here تيأسوا. Okay, this is actually second person masculine plural. It was supposed to be tay'asuna, right? Here the noon drops because of law of prohibition. This makes the mudari majzoom. That's why the noon is dropped. So it's wala tay'asu, and not despair of the mercy of Allah. Next, I've taken the example of Madi for family Karuma Yakrumu, Yasura Yaisuru. This is not there in Quran. I've just taken the example to show you what changes happen in this family. Okay, so Yasura, the meaning is be little or be small. So Yasura, Yasura, Yasuru, Yasurat, Yasurata, Yasurna, Yasurta, Yasurtuma, Yasurtum, Yasurti, Yasurtuma, Yasurtunna, Yasurtu, Yasurna, Yasurna. And the mudari is Karuma Yakrumu becomes Yasura Yaisuru, Yaisuru, Yaisurani, Yaisuruna, Taisuru, Taisurani, Yaisurna, Taisuru, Taisurani, Taisuruna, Taisurina, Taisurani, Taisurna, Aisuru, Naisuru, Naisuru. Now for the command, you take the second person mudari, taisuru. Then you get rid of the alamat mudari ta and you make it majzoom. So it becomes something like this. Now you cannot pronounce this. So what are you going to do? You're going to take a hamzatul wasl, and the i'rab of hamzatul wasl depend on the middle letter. Since it has a dhamma, hamzatul wasl will also have a dhamma, and it becomes uisur. Does it sound weird to you? Uisur. Remember the rule of Arabic? There is no ui or u sound in Arabic, right? So uisur doesn't sound right. So what they do is they make it smooth. How do they make it smooth in Mithal yaee? They convert the ya with a sukoon to a waw with a sukoon. So instead of uisur, they make it usur. This is much smoother than uisur, right? So this is the change that happens in the amr. That's why I've taken the example from family karuma yakrumu to show you what changes happen. And the chart is usur, usura, usuru, usuri, usura, usurna. Now in Mithal yaee, the ya stays in the mudari, present tense. This is not an irregularity at all. The irregularity is only when there is a waw. Like if there is a kasra on the waw sakin, then the waw is converted into a ya. And if there is a dhamma on the ya sakin, then the ya is converted into a waw. Like how uisur, there's a dhamma on the hamza, right? Uisur, then they make it a waw, usur. So for iusalun, what do? It's iu sound. So they make it smooth, they make it isalun. Okay, they convert the waw into a ya. Instead of yuayqinu, they make it smooth, yuqinu. The ya is converted into a waw. Now the prohibition or nahi, how do? You take la and then you take the mudari majzoom of that. Like la tasma becomes la taisur, la taisur, la taisura, la taisuru, la taisuri, la taisura, la taisurna. And the jazima, the words with jussive particles, li, la, lam, lamma in wal and fal, and the conditional words that makes the mudari majzoom. And the Quranic example is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Afalam yay'asil ladhina amanu allaw yasha'ullahu lahada. So here, notice it's actually yay'as. This is in the majzoom form. This was yay'as. The scene was having a sukoon. But then to join it with alladhina, there's a temporary kasra on the scene. So it's yay'asil ladhina. So because of lam, yay'asu becomes yay'as. Jazima. Then do not know those who believe that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had willed, surely He would have guided. Now the masdar, it's not in the same pattern always, because in family 1 there is no set pattern for all the small 6 families. Now the example is inna ma'al usri yusra. Indeed with hardship is ease, yusran. This is from ya, sin and ra. Now the Musliman pattern fa'ilun, active participles fa'ilani, fa'iluna, fa'ilan or fa'ilin, fa'ilaini, fa'ilina. So in this pattern, fa'ilun pattern, we have ya'isun. Okay, so ya'isun, ya'isani, ya'isuna, ya'isan or ya'isin, ya'isaini, ya'isina. For feminine, ya'isatun, ya'isatani, ya'isatun. Ya'isatan or ya'isatin becomes ya'isataini and ya'isatin. And the passive participle like mafa'ulun becomes may'usun. Okay, so may'usun, may'usani, may'usuna. May'usan or may'isin is may'usaini, may'usina. May'usatun, may'usatani, may'usatun. May'usatan or may'usatin becomes may'usataini, may'usatin. And the Quranic example for that are فَقُلْ لَهُمْ قَوْلًا مَيْسُورًا. From Yasin Ra, it becomes Maysura. Then say to them a gentle word. Now the passives. How do you make passives? You like fa'ala becomes fu'ila or sami'a becomes sumi'a. In the same way, ya'isa becomes yu'isa. He was despaired. Okay, so the Madi Majhul chart is yu'isa, yu'isa, yu'isu. Yu'isat, yu'isata, yu'isna. He was despaired, they both were despaired, they all were despaired. Yu'ista, yu'istuma, yu'istum. Yu'isti, yu'istuma, yu'istunna. Yu'istu, yu'isna, yu'isna. And the Mudari Majhul is like in Yusma'u pattern, it is supposed to be yu'ay asu, right? Yusma'u, yu'ay asu. Do you think it is weird to say yaee isu? It's something, it's like, it's not good to pronounce. So they want to make it smooth. How do they make it smooth? Instead of saying yaee asu, they convert the ya into a waw and make it smooth. They make it yu asu. Okay, yu asu is much more smoother than yaee asu, right? So yuf'alu or yusma'u pattern, it becomes yu asu. Okay, so it's yu isa, yu asu. He is despaired or he will be despaired. And the chart, mudare majhul chart is yu asu, yu asani, yu asuna. He is despaired or he will be despaired. They both are despaired, they both will be despaired. They all are despaired and they all will be despaired. Tu asu, tu asani, yu asna. Tu asu, tu asani, tu asuna. Tu asina, tu asani, tu asna. U asu, nu asu, nu asu. There are no Quranic examples for these, Madi Majhul and Mudari Majhul. Now, about the sarf. Sarf is the study of word patterns and how meaning can be derived based on these patterns. And it's a mechanism through which you can learn to recognize the pattern of majority of words in the Arabic language, and you can also construct a multitude of words when given a single word. So here I've taken Madi, Mudari, Masdar, Fa'ilun, then we have Madi Majhul, Mudari Majhul, and then we have Maf'ul, and then we have Fi'l Amr, and then we have Nahi. So Madi is Ya'isa, Ya'asu, Masdar is Ya'san or Ya'satan. The pattern changes. There's no set pattern. And then we have Fa'ilun is Ya'isun. And then we have Madi Majhul, Fu'ila is Yu'isa, Yuf'alu, Yu'asu. Maf'ulun is May'usun. And then Amr is I'as, and the Nahi is La Tay'as. Mithal yaee in the mujarrad or the small families behaves like a normal fi'l and it does not display irregularities. Notice that the ya is not dropped in the mudare and is constructed normally. Note that the change is in the amr and the mudare majhul, where the ya is transformed into a waw to avoid the u sound. Alhamdulillah, we are done with Mithal yaee. Jazakallahu khairan for watching. If you have any doubts or any suggestions or improvements for me, you can post it on the comment section below, or you can contact me on QLME2017@gmail.com. If you like my video, you can subscribe, and whatever is good is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this video, and the mistakes are purely from me. So forgive me if I have made any mistakes. Jazakallahu khairan.